For some odd reason, I always go like this. We ain't been in somewhere too long before some bug-ish start happening. I'm like, how we get kicked out of our IHOP? Like, come on, be for real with me right now. We done got kicked out of the damn IHOP.
Why this make you feel like though? Why this make you feel like though? Why this make you feel like though? Y'all, come wine till you broke off your back, broke off your back, broke off your, broke off your, broke off.
Hey my Tricia babes, welcome back to your girl channel. You're now rocking out with your girl Tricia. Okay y'all, so y'all already see this title, so y'all already know what we're about to get into. Some storytelling time. Yes, your girl is back with another story time. So we is literally on our 5th story, our very last story of our Tricia Full of Stories playlist. So if you haven't seen any of the previous stories, which most of y'all probably have not, if you happen to have stumbled across this story, of course, you know, I will leave the link below. It's 5 stories. None of them are related to each other in no kind of way. They are just 5 goofy, funny, crazy, weird, learnable stories. Just me exposing my life to you guys and just reminiscing on old memories. Okay, that's just pretty much all. Now of course this is not going to be my last story time. There's gonna be plenty of more after this one, but the reason why I made these into a playlist is because this will be like one of the first and probably only times I post this many stories back to back, so I figure I might as well make a playlist out of them. Okay y'all, so before we get started into this story, your girl needs you to go ahead on and hit this video with a thumbs up, okay? Because we already know you're gonna make it to the end, so go ahead and like it in advance so you don't have to do it on your way out, okay? Thank you. Listen, I am looking for a new subby, a new best friend, a new Tricia babe, all of that and then some in above. So make sure you hit that subscribe button as well as that notification bell so that y'all can become a part of the family. And don't forget to leave me a comment below because your girl loves running her mouth. And I'm gonna most definitely run my mouth in the comments below with y'all. Alright y'all, so I tried to hurry up and speed through that really quickly and don't ramble on too long so that we can go ahead and get started right into this story. As y'all can see, this story time is about another lame girls trip I went on, okay? Now, I will say the only difference is with this one versus the last one is that I wouldn't necessarily say that this one was a boring lame girl trip. I would just say that it was just a lame girl trip because it wasn't all the way boring. We definitely had some fun times throughout this weekend trip, but it was still lame at the end of the day, okay? Y'all, so this happened around the time of Classic Weekend. Now, if y'all don't know what Classic Weekend is, all it is pretty much when FAMU, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe it's BCU. If I'm wrong, just correct me in the comments below. But if I'm not mistaken, I believe it's FAMU and BCU that play against each other. And of course, it's a football game. But it's in Orlando. Now, this was going to be my first time going to Classic Weekend. And from what I know of Classic Weekend, it is definitely a lot going on in the city, okay? The city be extremely packed. Everybody and their mama is coming out, okay, to the city. The city definitely has a lot going on during that weekend. It's just like in Tallahassee during FAMU and FSU homecoming. The city is entirely too freaking packed. Everybody and their mama and their grandmama and their auntie and their little baby cousin and a little goddamn 5-year-old is coming out for FAMU and FSU homecoming. So that's pretty much how Classic Weekend is. So Lively ends up hitting me up, and if y'all don't know who Lively is, guess what y'all gotta do to find out who she is? Go watch my previous story times, because in those other story times I have plenty of them that includes Lively. Go watch them and y'all will know who Lively is, get a little bit of back history on me and Lively and our friendship. So go watch the other story times so y'all can get a little bit of a feel who Lively is, okay? Okay. But anyways, Lively ends up hitting me up and she ends up asking me if I wanted to go to Classic Weekend with her. So I was down. I didn't have really much nothing going on during the time. I'm like pretty much a boring female, okay? I'm a boring female. I don't really be having a lot going on. I don't really do a lot unless somebody asks me to do something. I'm usually doing a lot. I'm either in the house working, doing school work, or I'm chilling with my dude. One of those things. Other than that, I'm not really out and about like that. So she asks me if I want to go to Classic Weekend. And of course, I was down to go. Didn't have much going on. Why not? Now, y'all, during this time, okay, your girl was broke. Your girl was broke. I was definitely considered a broke college student. Okay, I was definitely giving one of those. Your girl pockets was looking very, very funny. Very funny and empty. In a minute, dust bunnies was gonna be coming out my goddamn pockets because they was just getting that low and broke for me, okay? And which, if you did watch my other story time where I talked about the lame girls trip, I did mention how one of the girls on the trip was broke, and I was like, her ass shouldn't have been coming out like that. But I also did mention how I went through a situation like that. So when I was talking about how I went through a situation like that, how I went out broke before on the trip, this was during that time. This was the time that I'm talking about, y'all. I definitely went out on this trip broke as hell. But like I said, if need be, if I needed money for anything, I definitely had somebody that could help me. It would either be my dad or my boyfriend. Like, I knew I wasn't going to be struggling for no kind of like money, or to be like really manhandling somebody or strong arming somebody to give me some money. I knew I wasn't going to have to go through all of that. I knew I could just ask either one of them and they would send the money with no issues, okay? So with your girl pockets definitely looking very, very much funny, I was pretty much telling Lively, like, we need to see if we can get other people to go on the trip. And she was all down for it. She was like, yeah, let's see if we can get some other people to go as well too. As we sit up here trying to think to see who else we can ask, we like really thinking long and hard on who else we're going to ask to come on this trip with us, okay? And it wasn't like we didn't have other friends or we didn't really know people like that. We did. We had plenty of other people that we knew amongst each other, but it was just the kind of a thing of who to really ask to go on the trip. Okay, I don't really know how to explain it, but if you kind of feel what I'm coming from, then you know you feel where I'm coming from. But you just can't ask everybody to go on the trip with you. At the end of the day, you just can't. Whether you're friends with them or not, not everybody is gonna come to your mind of, oh, let me ask them. Let me ask them. No, not everybody is gonna be like, oh yeah, let me ask them just because we're cool and we're friends. Sometimes you're going to skip over a couple of people and be like, nah, I ain't going to ask them. Let me think about them, you know? So that's kind of like what it was with me and her. And that's why we were kind of like prolonging the whole situation of who we were going to ask. There was another girl that, of course, either me or Lively thought of to ask, in which I'm going to go ahead and give her a name now. And I'm going to name her... I'm gonna name her Keisha. I feel like that name fit her. Yeah, I don't know. She looked like a Keisha to me, so I'm just gonna name her Keisha. Anyway, so Lively go ahead and reach out to Keisha, and she asks her if she wants to go to Classic Weekend with us. Keisha says no. Now, why Keisha says no, I don't know. Lively didn't tell me why she said no or anything like that. All I know is that the girl said no. So I'm like, okay, now who else are we gonna ask? So now we back at square one. We sit up here thinking long and hard on who next it is we're gonna ask, okay? So then that's when I think of another girl that we can ask. And so I'm gonna go ahead and get her name now too, and we're gonna name her Boring, okay? Which is weird, y'all, because I just said that the trip wasn't boring, but I'm naming one of the girls Boring. Listen, the trip wasn't necessarily boring. It was definitely lame. But just because the trip altogether wasn't boring, she was most definitely boring. She was most definitely freaking boring. So she is definitely going to win the title of boring. Okay, and y'all would definitely see why later on in the story. So I end up hitting up Boring. I'm like, hey girl, you know, do you want to go to Classic Weekend with me and Lively? Surprisingly, Boring says yes. And I was very surprised. So I go ahead and hit up Lively and I'm like, hey, Boring said that she's going to go ahead on the go. So now we got a third person. perfect. But, you know, it would still be great if we can find another person to go. So we still trying to think, okay? We trying to think to see if there's possibly like another fourth person that we can find to go. Because the more people that go, the more we can split stuff, okay? Cheaper. Everybody would have to put in less money for stuff. So it'd be amazing if we could find more people to go. But not only that, y'all, the more the merrier. Of course, the more people that go, the more funner you will have. I'm gonna say 7 out of 10, the more fun you'll have, because you gotta be a little bit careful with that, because people be having different personalities and, you know, stuff just don't go right. But, you know, I'm a strong believer in the more the merrier. I mean, it's cool to go with like a small group or just you and one other person, but I be loving to be with a big group because I feel like it's more lit. And I feel like that personally because I know how I am. I know I can get along with a lot of people. So I think that's why I'm kind of big on the more the merrier kind of like crowd. But I can definitely see people who are very cautious of that. I can definitely understand why they would be cautious to only have like a small group to go out of town with or to do trips with or anything like that. That is very understandable. So anyways, we back thinking. I can't remember we asked Lauren to think of anybody else that she would want to ask to come. I'm not sure. I think I might have did ask Lauren to think of somebody else that she would want to come just because I know how Lauren is. I don't know. I know she didn't think of nobody at the end of the day. So since it was taking us forever to think of somebody else, I just went ahead and said to Lively, hey, ask Keisha one more time to see if she changes her mind and she wants to go, because now Lauren is going, so she may potentially want to go. So she goes head on and she hits back up Keisha and she asks Keisha if she wants to go again. Now, this time around, Keisha says yes, she does want to go. And so I'm like, okay, you know, I didn't think too much into it then, y'all, but I'm going to explain something in a minute. But I didn't think too much into it when she said yes the second time around. I was just happy that she said yes the second time around, because now it's 4 of us all together. You know your bitch freaking pockets at this point is about to sneeze out dust bunnies. So I'm trying to get as many people as possible so we can split this mess as low as possible. Everybody got to come out of pocket as low as possible, as least as possible. So, you know, I'm just like, I don't care. I don't care what the reasoning is. So why she changed her mind, at the end of the day, she changed her mind and I'm happy about it. So, yeah. Because at the end of the day, your girl ain't have no business going on this trip broke like that. But against my better judgment, I did it anyway. Okay, y'all? So it is what it is. I'm pretty sure y'all done did it once before too. So don't judge me. Thank you. But okay, y'all, so we're gonna pause it right here real quick because I kind of want to explain to y'all the dynamic of all 4 of us in our relationships that we had amongst each other. And I'm gonna try my best to explain it to where it don't sound confusing, because it low-key is confusing unless if you were actually in the whole dynamic then you would kind of understand. So I'm trying to explain it the best I can, but I feel the need to explain the dynamic between the 4 of us so that y'all can kind of understand why some stuff probably happened the way that it did. Okay? Yeah. Okay, so we all 4 went to high school together. We all 4 went to the same high school. Me and Lively, we were cool, okay? We were very close. We were always together in high school. So, of course, you know, we were always rocking with each other. We didn't really have issues or nothing like that with each other. But we were friends, okay? Now, of course, I ended up meeting Boring in high school as well, too. Me and Boring, we were cool. We were good friends. We weren't as close as me and Lively, but we were good friends. Now, when it comes to Keisha, I knew of Keisha, but I did not know her. I never personally, talked to her in high school. We weren't friends, and we still aren't friends, okay? But I knew of her. Now, that is my dynamic with the 3 of them. Now, when it comes to Lively, of course, like I just explained, we're close and we're good friends, all that good stuff. Now, when it comes to Lively relationship with Keisha, they're also really good friends and they're also close as well, too. And they really met each other outside of high school. Like when we were done with high school and we went to college, that's when they met each other. From my understanding, she did not know Keisha in high school. She wasn't friends with Keisha in high school either. Now, when it comes to Boring relationship with the rest of us, like I just said, me and Born, we met each other in high school. We were cool. We were good friends. We wasn't extremely close, but we were definitely good friends. And when we got out of high school, for like a short period of time, me and Born was hanging out with each other like almost every day. We were doing a lot of stuff together, and we were talking a lot. So me and her had became a lot more closer during that little short period of time outside of high school, when we started hanging out with each other. And when I mean outside of high school, this was when we were out of high school, like we were done with school, and at this point we're all starting to move on to college. Okay, so that's me, of course, in Born's relationship. Now when it comes to Born and Lively, they do not know each other at all. Okay, they do not know each other. And come to find out, I did not know this during this time, but come to find out, Born did not like Lively. Why? I have no clue. I have no clue why she did not like her, but she did not like her. Now, the only thing I can think of, it got to be a jealousy thing. It has to be, because I don't understand why she did not like Lively. Lively didn't do anything to this girl. Nothing that I know of. Like, she ain't steal a man. She ain't catch a kiss on a man nowhere. She ain't bump in the hallway and ain't say sorry. Like, nothing. So I have no clue why not Lively. I have no clue why Born didn't really like Lively. Either it was like a jealousy thing, or she just kind of really didn't like how Lively was. I just put it like that. She just didn't like how she was, or her personality, or whatever the case may be. She just really didn't like her like that, and that's why she just didn't like her altogether. Okay, I just put it like that. Now, when it comes to Born and Keisha, they were close. Okay, they friendship is just like me and Lively's. They were really close. I always saw them together. They were always with each other. Even when me and Born started hanging out outside of high school, we even linked up with Keisha one time before. They were always like cool, close, and with each other. To be honest, I thought they were best friends. If I'm not mistaken, they probably were. I just never heard them actually say that out their mouth. But looking at their friendship, you would think that they were best friends. So now that y'all know the relationship among us, let me touch on their personalities really quickly. Of course, Lively has a personality that's a really great personality. A lot of people get along with her. It's nothing jacked up or messed up or anything like that with her personality. Now, when it comes to Keisha got a jacked up ass personality, okay? But what it really is with her is her attitude. It is her attitude that I think a lot of people can't like mesh with. It gets in the way of her in general, okay? I think that she honestly do have a good personality when you can really, really sit down and like talk with her and spend time with her and really get to know her. I think she honestly do has a good personality, but it's hard to get to that point with Keisha because she shows like her not so good side first before you're able to see the good side. And that's what ultimately is like her downfall when it comes to her getting along with people. So yeah, and she's loud, y'all. She is so loud, and I can't stand nobody that's real loud for no reason. It's one thing to be, just loud and fun, but she's not that kind of loud. She's like, to me, I feel like she's loud because she wants attention. And I don't like that at all, y'all. I swear I don't like people with those kind of personalities where they're just loud because you want attention. That, to me, is such a turn off. Like, yeah, I can't really mesh with people like that. And that's exactly how she was. So it was kind of like really hard to like mesh with Keisha. Me and this girl got into it twice, okay? Like, about to throw hands twice. That's just how hard it is for me to get along with her personality and for a lot of other people to get along with her personality. And that's big coming from me because I feel like I get along with a lot of people, okay? Pretty much everybody I come across, I feel like I definitely get along with them. Unless you do something to me or cross me in some kind of way, that's the only way we're not gonna get along. Other than that, I feel like my personality mesh with a lot of people. Okay, so that's kind of like Keisha's whole kind of personality and Lively's whole personality and how they are. Now over to Born. Born, she just is what her name is. She's Born. I ain't gonna do her like that, y'all. I ain't gonna do it completely like that. She can be a little fun, but she's kind of like one of those friends you don't want to go out and eat with. Like, she's kind of like one of those friends where if you go out to eat with her, she gonna complain about every single thing they put on her plate. Every single thing they bring out to her. Everything is nasty. Everything is nasty. Something is wrong with everything. She's definitely like, she has like a odd kind of personality. And I'm not gonna say it's like extremely hard to get along with her personality. Hers is kind of like on the borderline of Keisha, but it's in a different kind of way. Cause I don't know, y'all. I don't know. It's kind of like you have to know her. I honestly don't even know how me and Born became friends in high school. I really don't know how, and I don't know how we became as close as we became outside of high school. When we were done, I don't know how we even became that close like that, just because of how she is. She's just hard to connect with, you know? It's like if you bring her around your other friends, she's gonna be quiet. She's gonna be quiet. She's not gonna really communicate. She's not gonna really give you much. She'll communicate with you because she knows you, but she's not really gonna communicate with your other friends, and she may give off a couple of stank faces. She's like one of those kind of people, one of those kind of friends, in which I was a little bit shocked to know that her and Keisha were such great friends to where they're pretty much best friends, because both of them got some weird, hard, difficult personalities when you put both of them together. So I was kind of weird to see that they were so close, but then I'm like, okay, well, y'all kind of are a little bit similar, so I kind of can see why y'all could be as close and as good as friends as y'all are. But then again, I was like, I don't know. And Born, she's also kind of like one of those friends where you kind of have to like babysit her. And I was a little bit nervous with her coming on the trip, because if it did just only end up being me, Lively, and Boring, I didn't want it to be a situation where she's not really talking to Lively, because unbeknownst to me, I did not know she did not like Lively until later on in life. But with me just knowing how she is, I knew she wasn't going to communicate with Lively like that anyway. And I didn't want to be the middle person, you know? I didn't want to have to be like, okay, well, now I got to go be over here with Boring to make sure she's good, make sure she's okay, baby her, and then come over here and get lit and turn with my friend Lively. I didn't want to have to be flip-flopping between the both of them. I wanted all of us to mingle and communicate and talk and have fun together, not separate, pretty much. To be honest, when I thought of wanting to ask her to go on the trip, I really didn't want to ask her, but I honestly couldn't think of somebody else to ask. So I'm like, okay, fuck it. I'm just going to go ahead on and ask her. But I knew in the back of my head something was telling me don't ask her, but I still did it anyway, okay? And that's just what I get at the end of the day, because I knew better than ask her, and I did it anyway. So that's why when I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go ahead on and just ask her, even though I knew it wasn't really a good idea, I then came back to Lively and I told her to ask Keisha, because I knew that her and Keisha were like best friends, and I knew that if Keisha came on the trip as well too, then that would be great, because then I wouldn't have to play babysitter, because Keisha will also be on the trip, and that's somebody else who she know and she's cool with. So, you know, if anything, she can communicate with Keisha if I'm not always talking to her. So that's why I was like really pushing the second time around for Keisha to come, even though I know that Keisha has a really fucked up personality. I ain't gonna say fucked up, but she has a hard personality, and I knew that like it's 9 times out of 10 me and this girl may get into it, because I know I just don't really mesh well with her personality. I still just ignore all that, and I was like, well, just still see if Keisha come on the trip, because she can help me with Born at the end of the day. And not only that, y'all know I'm trying to get more people so that stuff can be splitted 4 ways or more than, you know, 2-3 ways, and that's less money that come out of my pocket. But since I'm sitting up here playing a broke friend at the end of the day, this is what I get, which was horrible. I should just stay behind home, but against my better judgment, I wanted to go out and check my ass. So it just is what it is, you know. So yes, y'all, that is the dynamic between all 4 of us, our friendships, and each of the ladies' personalities. So I know that was a lot, but I felt like I needed to explain that to y'all so y'all can kind of see why some things kind of took place or why people was kind of acting a little weird to certain people on the trip, okay? So anyways, now since we have Keisha and Born both now going on a trip, we done looking for extra people to go. 4 of us is good enough. Now, before we asked Keisha the second time around, did she want to go ahead and go on the trip, we had already paid for the Airbnb. So we all had already put our money in to pay for it. So now since Keisha is saying she's going to go ahead on and go, she now has to give us her half for the Airbnb. Now, Lively went and told Keisha what her amount was going to be to pretty much cash out each one of us for her half of the Airbnb. Now, when Lively told her what her half was, Keisha came back and was like, y'all wrong. Like, that's not how much I'm supposed to give y'all. I'm supposed to give y'all this amount. And so, of course, Lively ran it back to me. And she was like, Keisha was saying that pretty much we were wrong on the amount she's supposed to be giving. She's supposed to be giving less than that. And so I'm like, how the hell is we wrong? Like, we did the calculations. We know how much she's supposed to pay. Like, how are we wrong? Like, you need to go back and tell her that she's wrong because this is what all of us put in. So this is what she's going to put in as well, too. Okay? So you need to run back and tell your friend that she coming up with the wrong price. Her calculations is a little bit off there. Okay, so Lively then of course go back to Keisha and let her know, hey girl, I don't know where you're getting your numbers from, but this is what we coming up with and this is what you gotta pay. So I don't know what happened during that conversation, y'all, but of course after Lively gets off the phone with Keisha, she come back to me and then she changes her whole tune up and she tells me that Keisha is right. That she is supposed to be paying the price that she is saying she's supposed to be paying and that the price we're saying is incorrect. I'm like, bitch, how the fuck is we incorrect? This is what all of us put in. So why would she be putting in something less? To be honest, y'all, Keisha was right. Lively ended up showing me how she ended up coming up with her amount to how much she was supposed to cash out each one of us, and it did come out to the correct amount. I'm like, oh damn. She trying to make us look slow, like we don't know how to do no simple mathematics. Like, she ain't have to do us like that. I'm like, ooh, okay then. Yeah, she was right at the end of the day. Oh, y'all, I forgot to tell y'all why I thought it was a little bit weird that Keisha said yes the second time around. Because y'all remember, I was just like, I didn't really too much think on it. I was just happy that she said yes. But in the back of my head, I was always thought, that was a little bit weird that she turned around and said yes the second time around, but said no the first time around. From my understanding, it wasn't no reasoning to why she said no the first time around, because Lively didn't come back and tell me no reasoning, unless she just didn't want to tell me whatever it was. But I pretty much gathered, or pretty much put 2 and 2 together, that Keisha said no the first time around. This is what I'm just assuming, y'all, okay? This is what I'm assuming. I'm assuming that Keisha said no the first time around because it was just literally going to be her, Lively, and me. And I believe she said no because I was going to be coming on the trip, and it was just going to be the 3 of us. And the reason why I'm pointing it out, y'all, is because I wholeheartedly believe Keisha do not like me, okay? I truly believe she do not like me. And it's so weird, y'all. This whole dynamic between the 4 of us is so weird because we find out later on in life that freaking Born don't like Lively. And I know for a fact, I can feel it in my soul, Keisha don't like me. So it's so weird for all 4 of us to be going on this trip together when some of us are not friends, some of us don't like each other, some of us got issues with each other. It is so weird for all 4 of us to be going on this trip, in which I can see it amongst all of us. All this that I'm explaining to y'all, I can see it amongst all of us, and I already knew. The only thing I didn't know is that Born did not like Lively. I just knew she wasn't going to communicate with her just because I know how Born is. But I can see this whole setup between the 4 of us, and I ignored it. Okay, I ignored it. All because your girl Pahis was goddamn shitting dust bunnies. That's the whole reason why I ignored it, and I shouldn't have. Okay, I shouldn't have. Anyways, I wholeheartedly believe Keisha do not like me, and I can feel that she does not like me, because I'm pretty sure y'all done had that feeling with somebody before too, when y'all can just feel deep down in your soul, in your gut, something is telling you that a particular person do not like you, and you don't even know the person, but you can feel that they don't like you. Okay, and you may have a couple of reasons of why they may not personally like you, and you may not know exactly which reason it is, and you may not know if any of them reasons is actually a reason why they may not like you, but you goddamn know that they don't like you. Okay, and that is exactly what it was between me and Keisha. I knew for a fact that girl did not like me, and I have no clue why. Y'all, I have no clue. Well, no, I ain't gonna say I don't have no clue. I do have a couple of reasons of why I think she do not like me, but I ain't gonna go into all that, y'all, because this story gonna come out to be way longer. I'm gonna be going all off the rails and hit a damn detour off of this goddamn story time and what I'm actually supposed to be talking about. So I'm not even gonna go into all that, but just know that I do know that there is a couple of reasons of why I think she may not like me. And y'all, another weird thing is that I personally did not care for Keisha. Now, I ain't gonna say I did not like the girl. I just did not care for her because, like I told y'all, she had a very hard personality that people just really did not mesh with. And I don't like that whole being loud for attention stuff. I don't like that. I really don't. So I personally did not care for her because of those reasonings, because her personality, her attitude, the being loud stuff. I didn't care for her because of that, but I'm not going to necessarily say I don't like the girl. I don't really know her to say that I don't like her, but I can feel it radiated off of her. It was radiating, and it was telling me, that bitch don't like you. That bitch don't fuck with you, and she don't like you. But to me, I don't care about stuff like that. I really don't. I don't care. I can still be around you if I feel like for some odd reason you don't like me and you really don't know me. I can still be around you in those kind of situations because I don't care. I don't care. You're just gonna be mad with your damn self at the end of the day because I don't know you. I don't know you and you don't know me. So I'm not gonna let it be awkward when we're in the same room together. I'm gonna have fun. I'm gonna do me at the end of the day. You just stay over there feeling how you feeling. Just is what it is, to be honest. So yeah. But I just had to mention that, y'all, because I really thought it was weird how she said no the first time when she seen it was only just me and Lively, but then she turned around and said yes the second time when she seen it was me, Lively, and not boring. So I just thought that was a little bit odd, a little bit strange. That's weird. That's suspicious. I just thought that was a little bit weird, y'all, but in the end, I honestly didn't give a fuck, to be honest. So, anyways, y'all, now that we got who all is going to go on the trip, everybody put their money in for the Airbnb. Now, let's fast forward to the date of the trip, and we're supposed to be leaving. Now, during this time, I was back home. I was living in Jacksonville, and Lively, Boring, and as well as Keisha, all of them were in Tallahassee. So we were all riding in Lively's car. So she drove down from Tallahassee to Jacksonville to come and pick me up. Then after she picked me up, we headed on to Orlando. So that was a lot of driving for Lively, okay? Because Tallahassee to Jacksonville is like a good 2.5 hours away, depending on how fast you're driving. But it's essentially 2.5 hours away. So she had to drive 2.5 hours from Tally to Jax to come get me. Then I think it's like 3 hours and something from Jacksonville to Orlando. So she was driving a good little over 5 hours. So she definitely was doing quite a bit of driving that day, and she still drove us around everywhere else, okay? Now, by the time we make it into Orlando, it is nighttime at this point. I think it's like going on like 9 o'clock or something like that. It is definitely nighttime. Now, we didn't necessarily have like plans to do anything in particular throughout the weekend. This was just like another trip where we were going with the flow, pretty much. But I mean, the city was lit this weekend. There was a lot going on, so it wasn't hard for us to find something to do. So this particular night, Lively wanted to go to a hotel party, pretty much. So the people that was throwing the party, they had got the big like little room that be in like the hotel buildings, where I guess, you know, you can have parties or like events and stuff in there. They pretty much had the party in that big old room area. So, of course, when we get down to Orlando, we all immediately hop in the shower, change our clothes, get dressed, and go ahead on and head out to the hotel party. Now, when we get there, there was like a little line, but it didn't take that long before we actually got inside. So, when we get inside, y'all, it was so dead. Okay, it was completely dead. It was maybe like all of 20 bodies up in there. It was maybe all of like 20 bodies up in there. And when I tell y'all, it was so freaking cold. It was beyond cold in there. I was freezing. I'm like, oh mother effing goodness, it's cold in here. I'm like, it is so freaking cold. I'm about to freeze half to death. And what made it worse is that Classic Weekend is in October or November. I think it's in November. If I'm not mistaken, it's in November. And during that time, like, in Orlando, it's cold, okay? So it's already freezing out the door, and then y'all got the nerve to have a freezer in this damn building. Oh my goodness, that was definitely a no-no for me, because I hate the cold. So I'm like, oh my goodness, it's cold everywhere we go at this point. So it was definitely freezing in there. I was freezing my ass off, but I'm like, okay. It paid off for later on, though. It definitely paid off for later on. It's barely anybody in there, but y'all, we got there pretty early. Like I said, by the time we got down to Orlando, it was like 9 o'clock. So we probably got into like the hotel party like 10:30. That's extremely early. Like 10 o'clock is normally like when clubs open up, period, in general. So 10:30 is extremely early to get to a club or a party in this case. Normally people don't show up to like a party or a club till like 11 going on 12. So we were there extremely early, so that's why it's barely anybody here. So I was cool with it. I was willing to rock it out to see how the rest of the night would go. I wasn't doing too much of no complaining. The only thing I was like, ugh, about was it was cold as hell. Okay, that was it. So when we get in there, you know, Keisha, she's twerking, she dancing stuff. We just doing a little bit of a little 1-2, all that other little good stuff. I mean, we ain't getting too crunk, and ain't too many people up in here, and they weren't playing like really good music starting off. But you know, we still vibing out. Now, we hadn't even been in there that long, y'all. Okay? For some odd reason, I always go like this. We ain't been in somewhere too long before some bug-ish start happening. So we ain't even been in there too long. We probably been in there all of like 10-15 minutes. And here come Boring. This girl go telling me, she about to go sit down on like this little thing that was like by the door, by the entrance coming in. It was like this big ass like square thing that somebody could just easily sit on. She said she about to go and sit on that and go to sleep. Y'all know I be fed up. When I get like this, start shaking my head and I get quiet, I'm fed up. I'm pissed off. You aggravated me. I'm aggravated. I'm like, Boring, what? You about to do what? This girl is someone, so she about to go sit down by the entrance. So immediately when people walk in, they gonna see yo freaking crazy behind sitting down on this thing with your eyes closed sleeping. This girl was not even playing. I thought that she was like low-key playing, but she wasn't. She literally walked her 2 little feet over there, hopped up on that thing, laid her head down on the wall, put her little jacket over her, and she closed her eyes. I'm like, she gotta be kidding me. Like, I know she ain't serious. How can you even go to sleep right now? For one, it's freezing in here. And 2, they playing loud music. How can you even sleep? Like, girl, what in the world? She acting like she just came off an airplane or something. And she gotta get her a little quick nap in real quick before she go out and do something. That's how she was acting. I'm like, we literally just got in here. Literally. And you are saying you about to go sit down somewhere and go to sleep. Who does that? Like, for real, who does that? I've never seen nobody do some weird stuff like that before. I wasn't even concerned about it. I wasn't for the put too much energy into that, because I'm like, yeah, this the first night. We're literally only here for 2 days, and you want to go to sleep in a freaking hotel party? Like, come on now. You got to be kidding me right now. So I'm like, okay, I don't know. So at this point, Keisha didn't stop dancing. We kind of just standing around looking a little crazy. And we kind of looking like, okay, where's the next move? Like, what we finna do? Because they were kind of not really wanting to stay. I mean, to me, it was up in the air. I really didn't care. We could stay, we can do something else. As long as we don't go home and waste the first night, I was cool with whatever. To be honest, like, we paid our money to come down here for a weekend to have fun, and going home on the first night is not fun. We for the leave and we get in the car, and we were pretty much looking to see what is the next move, like where else we can kind of go or whatever the case may be, because the hotel party was just dead, but we hadn't even been in there that long, y'all. So people just can't be patient, I guess. But like I said, it didn't matter to me what we were going to do, whether we stayed or we left. As long as we did something else, I was cool. Keisha and Boring, they keep talking about they hungry. Okay, we had just went and got McDonald's not too long ago, but they keep talking about they hungry. So I'm like, let's go get them something to eat so they can be quiet. Like, oh my goodness. So we end up going to, I believe it was IHOP. I want to say Waffle House, but I believe it was IHOP because we actually went in and sat down and ate. And the restaurant wasn't giving Waffle House, so I believe it was IHOP. We go in, we sit down, we order our food. I can't remember necessarily what happened, but Keisha get us kicked out. Keisha get us kicked out. I'm like, how we get kicked out of an IHOP? Like, come on, be for real with me right now. We done got kicked out of a damn IHOP. And the freaking place is like packed, so it's embarrassing to get kicked out in front of a place full of people. But if I'm not mistaken, y'all, if I can remember correctly, Keisha got into it with the waiter. I know she definitely got into it with the waiter, and I can't remember if it was over her food. I don't know if her food was wrong or if it didn't taste right. I don't know. It was something dealing with her food, but she got into it with the waiter so damn bad we got kicked out. I'm like, only Keisha can get somebody kicked out of a damn IHOP. I ain't even gonna act like that, because I'm pretty sure a lot of people got kicked out of an IHOP, but I ain't just getting kicked out of freaking eating places like that. So I'm just like, to get kicked out of a freaking IHOP, for me, it was just kind of like a little bit of, okay, that's new. That's definitely something new. But like I told y'all, Keisha got this hard personality to get along with that don't mesh well with people, and she got an attitude problem. So she was definitely showing that side of her, and it got our asses kicked out at the end of the day. So now at this point, we done got kicked out, but the rest of us got our food. Like, me, Boring, and Lively, we got our food, because I do remember that Boring took her food to go. She was not leaving her damn food. She took her food to go, and I don't blame her. So at this point, we back in the car. We sitting in the car for a minute, because now we still trying to figure out what we finna do. Hey y'all, it's Future Me. How y'all doing? I know y'all probably like, what in the world is Future you doing up in this story time right now? Listen, I'm gonna just go ahead on and apologize to y'all in advance, because this story time may be a little bit all over the place between me keep flip-flopping between past me and future me, okay? Okay, so since the video was so freaking long, y'all, I will have to split this story time up into 2 parts. So of course, this will be part 1, and the rest of the story time will be on part 2. I really hate to do it to y'all, but I guess that's what happens when I be running my mouth too dang long and don't realize how long I've been recording. So yeah. So the reason why I didn't have to come to y'all from in the future is because in the midst of me editing this video, I realized that I left out 2 parts of the freaking story. And so I was debating on whether or not should I do a voiceover or should I just leave it out. And I didn't want to do a voiceover because I be hating to do voiceovers. I be liking for the video just to be smooth all the way through. And I didn't want to leave it out either, because what's a story time without giving y'all all of the good, juicy, small little tiny details, okay? I figured I would just bring y'all future me instead of doing a voiceover or just leaving out the details of these 2 parts I left out to begin with. So yeah, and I know I ended up forgetting those parts because I was honestly trying to rush through the dang on story time so that I did not make the video too freaking long. and still ended up making the video entirely too long. Y'all know I be talking too damn much. That's why this video is so long. Like literally when I got through recording, I could not believe that this video was almost pushing 2 hours. I'm like, oh my goodness. I thought I was getting through this story time quick. In actuality, I was getting through it slow as hell, apparently. So I'm like, damn, I don't got no choice but to break it up into 2 parts. So it is what it is, y'all, okay? I'm sorry, but it is what it is. Now, the 2 parts I forgot to tell y'all about in the story time, they will be added into part 2 because I'm gonna go ahead and end this story time right here. I felt like this was a good stopping point. So if you made it to the end of this story, I appreciate you guys so freaking much. And if you have not liked this story, but you made it to the end of the video, what are you doing? You might as well go ahead and like the video now before I let y'all go and I end this video, okay? You still got a few more seconds left. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well as that notification bell so that way y'all are notified every time your girl uploads and y'all can be the first ones to know when I drop part 2, okay? Once again, if you made it to the end of this video, I appreciate you guys so much. And of course, as always, I will see you in my next one. Bye.